Coming up in this video, I saw out of the side of my eye the man stick his head around the bend briefly and afterward return. He had an extremely furious look on his face. I gave my all to overlook him and calculated that he would leave soon enough. Around 5 minutes passed by. This video is about Walmart horror stories and true scary Walmart stories. I had some work a couple of years prior that was quite extreme. I worked a few madly lengthy days and got home exceptionally late around evening time in some cases. One night, I was burning the midnight oil and I left work so drowsy that I could scarcely remain conscious. I started driving home and after around 10 minutes, I realized I wouldn't make everything out back before nodding off. I maneuvered into the following way out where there was a 24-hour Walmart that I was aware of. It was after 2 a.m. At the point when I arrived, my objective was to simply stroll around a bit, spot to awaken and perhaps purchase an energy drink or something with caffeine in it. I got inside the store and started to walk around. I just saw a couple of clients at the front of the store for certain workers. Yet, other than that it appeared nearly vacant. I was strolling around the back finish of the store for a somewhat leisurely, beginning to feel more alert when I took note somebody strolling behind me. They were strolling behind me at an incredibly close distance that was very awkward. I halted and looked behind me. There was a man that was something like 5 feet away. He halted also and gazed at me with a devoid look all over. Briefly, he was around 6 feet tall wearing a earthy colored suit coat with a brown turtleneck. He then dismissed and strolled into a close-by walkway. I kept on strolling around the store, however. It wasn't long until the man was back. Once more, this time when he drew near I called to him and said, "Could I at any point help you?" Once more, he just took an alternate route. Furthermore, I left. I concluded it would be best for me to simply leave by then. I proceeded to get a caffeinated drink, and I was feeling more alert now. However, and likewise, a tad creeped out by the man. I passed on the store and strolled back to my vehicle. Something about how the man was gazing at me only sort of gave me the creeps. Fortunately for me, I was much more alert at this point. Furthermore, I had the option to commute home with next to no issues. Assuming that were the full story, it would be sufficiently awful. Unfortunately, it's not. I drove home and obviously when I got there I nodded off right away. Be that as it may, I awakened about a little while later to a truck motor running boisterously. I watched out of my window to the road. I saw a truck sitting in the city in front of my window. Furthermore, the front seat was a similar man gazing at me. He had that devoid look all over. Practically immediately after I checked him out, he shrieked his tires and hurried away. I've always been unable to sort out who this man was or what he needed from me. In any case, I at no point ever saw him in the future. The previous summer I worked at a Walmart, generally loading racks late around evening time. It was quite simple and was the first genuine work that I had. One night I turned out to work at around 11 o'clock p.m. We were as yet open around, then we would seldom get numerous clients then. At that point, since we shut at 12 p.m., I was in a walkway where we sold pet supplies at the specific back finish of the store. Simply loading a rack, I heard someone strolling nearby, then saw a man enter the path and begin to move toward me. I truly could have done without when clients would ask me inquiries. However, I would continuously give my all to respond to them. He drew nearer to me and when he did seeing that a portion of his garments was ripped and he appeared to be a smidgen off, he told me that he had an inquiry for me. Then, at that point, he started to ask something. Never truly got to the answer. He halted himself and gradually shared with me that he could have done without me. His face changed to an irate look. I had no clue about what to do except for I figured this man must be on a medication of some kind or another. He gradually strolled behind the walkway we were in. I just shook my head and returned to work. However, I could perceive that the man was simply remaining there scarcely around the corner. As I removed items from boxes and put them on the racks, I saw out of the side of my eye the man stick his head around the bend briefly and afterward return. He had an extremely furious look on his face. I gave my all to overlook him and calculated that he would leave soon enough. Around 5 minutes passed by, and as far as I probably was aware he was still there. Then, at that point, a few things came, taking off the rack close to me as though they had been pushed from the opposite side. Presently, this irritated me. I said in a firm voice to the man that he ought to simply get anything he came here to get and leave. What he said accordingly was that he was going to get me, and afterward, he called for me to come around the bend to the opposite side. I overlooked it and began to get things that fell. He got down several additional times for me to emerge. Yet I just disregarded him indeed. About a moment later, I heard the sound of additional individuals in the passageway close to mine. It seemed like 4 or 5 men were out of nowhere in the passageway. I chose to stroll over and look and saw a few cops begin to take the man away. One of the officials strolled over to me. Furthermore, I asked him what occurred. He let me know that that man had attacked someone in a close-by eatery a couple hinders away in an irregular assault, and afterward escaped. He was found at the Walmart. It appeared as though he was going for me next. This happened quite a long prior. I used to shop at Walmart very often. They indeed sold all that I wanted and were out of control, so it was consistently my most memorable store to go to. At a certain point, I needed to leave town for a work gathering. It went on for about 7 days. What's more, it was around a 10-hour drive away. After it was over, I was driving back. I was returning about midway. It got pretty late around evening time. I was ready to pass through the night. However, my vehicle got low on gas, so I halted at the following way out and filled it up. I was ravenous, yet noticed that the odds and ends shop of the corner store was shut. This town was tiny and didn't appear to have a lot. However, they had a Walmart that was across the road. This Walmart was quite possibly of the most peculiar ones I had at any point seen. It simply wasn't the run-of-the-mill sort of Walmart building that they normally are in. The structure appeared to be more modest, and as if it had assumed control over the structure of a past store that had been there. The parking garage hushed up a couple of vehicles, so I found it on Google Guides and it said sure sufficient it was open. This appeared to be somewhat astonishing to me, since it was around 12 p.m. In any case, I maneuvered my vehicle into the parking area. Furthermore, headed inside. As I gradually strolled and I didn't actually understand what I was searching for. However, I presume simply a food of some sort or another. As I strolled around inside, I didn't notice any other individual within the Walmart. I searched for the most part like an ordinary Walmart. However, at a similar time completely different. It was a lot more modest inside and organized, uniquely in contrast to the majority of the ones I had been in. Still not no joking matter, and I attempted to find something I could nibble on. As I strolled around, I didn't see anyone else in the store by any means. It appeared to be somewhat odd to not even see a laborer. However, at that point again, it was midnight in a humble community that I had never been in. I had come to the back passageway and was checking out when I heard the commotion of somebody strolling. They entered the path from the far side from where I was in, and I saw it was somebody wearing one of those pony faces, veils that cover an individual's entire head. I looked and it alarmed me from the start. Then, at that point, I laughed. I get it was some person tricking individuals. Late around evening time, he remained there checking me out. Then he left. I let him know it was extremely entertaining. I had long last tracked down several things and gotten him. Then I went to the front of the store. As I did, I saw another individual strolling by, likewise wearing a pony veil. I thought perhaps it must be the person's companion, and they were both savvy about what was going on. Yet, again, I grinned and continued to walk. I utilized the self-checkout and paid for my things all, while not seeing a solitary worker. As I was nearly done, I saw another 2 individuals rise out of behind one of the crooked paths. They were both wearing pony veils as well. At that point, I got a surge of dread run through my body. I didn't have the foggiest idea what was happening. However, it didn't appear to be a joke to me any longer. I thought back and saw the other 2 individuals in horse veils gazing at me from the back close to the paths. I attempted to not allow them to see the apprehension that I had. My tranquility moved my receipt and left. Furthermore, out the entryways, I strolled as far as possible back to my vehicle, trusting that I wouldn't hear the strides of anybody abandoning me. Furthermore, Amazingly, I didn't. When I got to my car, I understood. There was another vehicle that was left straight away to mine. I attempted to overlook it admirably well. Also, got to my car, opened it, and immediately got inside. As I did, I looked over to the vehicle leaves, close to mine. At first, it appeared as though it was vacant. Then I saw a ponytail spring up in the driver's seat. I pretty much had a coronary failure. In that second, I pummeled my foot on the gas and left that city back to the road, and on my way home, I returned home the following day wondering what was happening there. Hey guys, if really enjoyed the stories, check out this video, 3 paranormal true Snapchat horror stories, because a lot of you don't know the danger of this app.